They met by chance, and their hearts chose each other. But her father said, no. They loved in secret, hiding from tradition, gossip, and family pride. He had nothing to offer except his determination to prove himself. 1 year later, fate brought him back to her father's eyes, stronger than ever. Will love win? They loved each other, but her father said no. Watch now. Like heart share speech bubble, comment, pencil, subscribe bell. The afternoon sun shone brightly over the University of Lagos campus. Students walked in groups, laughing and chatting. Others hurried to their next lecture, their bags bouncing on their backs. Inside the library, the air was cool and quiet, filled with the smell of books. Chiamaka, a 21-year-old law student, pushed open the heavy glass door. She had come to look for a book her lecturer recommended for an upcoming assignment. Law and Society in Nigeria. She searched the shelves, her fingers brushing over the spines of books until she finally spotted it. But just as she reached for the book, another hand touched it too. "Oh, I'm sorry," a deep voice said. Chiamaka turned. Standing beside her was a tall young man with kind eyes and a calm smile. He wore a simple t-shirt and jeans. His skin was dark and smooth, and his voice carried a warmth that made her heart skip. "I think we're both looking for the same book," he said. Chiamaka smiled politely. "Looks like it. You can take it." "No, no. Ladies first," he replied, stepping back slightly. "I'm Tunde, final year engineering student." She took the book and thanked him. "I'm Chiamaka, third year law." They stood for a moment, unsure whether to end the conversation or continue. It was Tunde who spoke again. "Law and engineering. Interesting mix. What's your dream after school?" Chiamaka hesitated, then said, "I want to become a human rights lawyer, help people who can't fight for themselves." "That's noble," Tunde said, his eyes lighting up. "I want to build a tech company that creates jobs for young Nigerians." They both laughed at how big their dreams sounded, yet something about the conversation felt natural. They moved to a nearby table and talked for over an hour, discussing school, books, and even their favorite food. Chiamaka discovered Tunde loved amala and egusi soup, while she preferred jollof rice with grilled fish. When Chiamaka glanced at her watch, she gasped, "Oh no, I have to go. My class starts in 10 minutes. Tunde stood with her. "Can I walk you there?" As they walked across the campus, the conversation continued effortlessly. At her lecture hall, she turned to him. "Thanks for the company, Tunde." "My pleasure. Maybe we could talk again. Over lunch sometime?" Chiamaka hesitated for just a moment before smiling. "All right, here's my number." Tunde typed it into his phone, and they said goodbye. But as Chiamaka sat in her class, she found herself replaying their conversation in her mind. She didn't know why, but something told her this wasn't the last time she would see Tunde. Meanwhile, Tunde walked back across the campus with a grin. He didn't believe in love at first sight, but after meeting Chiamaka, he was starting to think it might be real. Outside, the Lagos sun was still shining, but for both of them, the day felt brighter for another reason entirely. The next day, Chiamaka's phone buzzed while she was eating breakfast in the hostel cafeteria. It was a message from Tunde. "Tunde, good morning, Miss Future Human Rights Lawyer. Hope today treats you kindly." She smiled at the screen before replying, "Chiamaka. Morning, Mr. Future Tech Boss. I'll try my best." From that day on, they began talking every day. Messages, calls, and quick chats whenever they met on campus. They discovered they had the same taste in music, both loved old Nigerian high-life songs, and even enjoyed watching the same kind of movies. Sometimes after lectures, they would meet at a small canteen near the back gate of the university. It wasn't fancy, but the owner cooked delicious jollof rice and fried plantain. They would sit under the shade of a mango tree, eating and laughing while students passed by. One afternoon as they ate, Tunde leaned back in his chair. "You know, Chiamaka, you're the first person I've met who actually listens when I talk about my ideas." She laughed. "That's because your ideas are interesting. I can already imagine you owning a big company one day. And I can already imagine you in court, fighting for justice," he said, smiling. Their bond grew deeper. Tunde started walking her to the library in the evenings, and she would help him proofread his project work. Sometimes, when she was stressed about school, Tunde would bring her her favorite snack, gala and chilled malt. One rainy Friday afternoon, They found themselves stuck in the library as the rain poured heavily outside. The sound of the rain on the roof mixed with the smell of wet earth drifting in through the windows. They sat at the same table where they had first met. You know, Chiamaka said softly, I don't usually get close to people this quickly. Same here, Tunde replied. But with you, it feels different. Their eyes met for a long moment. Neither of them said it out loud yet, but they both knew they were falling in love. By the end of the semester, Tunde invited Chiamaka to a small picnic at the university garden. He brought suya, soft drinks, and a speaker for music. They talked about everything, their childhood, their struggles, and their biggest fears. I lost my dad when I was 12, Tunde said quietly. It's been my mum alone since then. She worked so hard to get me here. Chiamaka touched his hand gently. She must be proud of you. And you? He asked. She hesitated. I have both my parents, but my father can be difficult. Tunde nodded slowly. He didn't press for details. As the sun set, painting the sky orange, Tunde turned to her. Chiamaka, I know we're young, but I want you to know. I'm serious about you. Her heart raced. I'm serious about you too, Tunde. They didn't need to say more. The quiet understanding between them said it all. But neither of them knew that soon, their love would face a test that would shake everything they believed in. The Harmattan breeze was gentle that Saturday morning. Chiamaka was at home in her parents' house in Ikeja for the weekend. Her mother, a calm and soft-spoken woman, was arranging vegetables in the kitchen when Chiamaka walked in, humming to herself. You're glowing these days, her mother said with a teasing smile. Is there someone special? Chiamaka blushed. Maybe. Her mother chuckled. You can tell me. I promise I won't bite. So Chiamaka told her about meeting Tunde in the library, their conversations, his dreams, and how kind he was. She spoke with so much joy that her mother couldn't help but smile. He sounds like a good young man, her mother said. When do I get to meet him? Soon, Mama. But I think we should tell Daddy first. Her mother's smile faded slightly. You know how your father is. But let's see. I'll talk to him when he's in a good mood. That evening after dinner, her father, Chief Okafor, sat in the living room reading a newspaper. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man with a deep voice and an air of authority. His words often ended conversations rather than started them. Her mother started gently. Darling, Chiamaka has met someone. Chief Okafor looked up from the newspaper. Met someone? As in a man? Chiamaka nodded. Yes, Daddy, his name is Tunde. He's in his final year at UNILAG, studying engineering. What's his surname? Her father asked sharply. Adebayo, she replied. The room went quiet. Chief Okafor's expression hardened. Yoruba? Yes, Daddy, she said softly. And his family background? He pressed. He's from a modest family in Ibadan. His father passed away when he was 12. His mother raised him. Chief Okafor folded the newspaper slowly. So no father, from a poor background, and not from our tribe. Daddy, he's a good person. Her father cut her off. Chiamaka, in this life, good character is not enough. Marriage is not just about love. It's about family, tradition, and status. You will not waste your future on someone who cannot give you the life you deserve. Her chest tightened. But Daddy, no buts. His voice was final. You will end this now. Focus on your studies. When the time is right, I will introduce you to a man from our people, someone of equal standing. Her mother glanced at Chiamaka with sympathy, but said nothing. That night, Chiamaka lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her father's words played over in her mind like a broken record. She thought about Tunde, his smile, his determination, the way he believed in her dreams. She couldn't imagine letting him go just because of tribe and background. When she picked up her phone, there was a message from him. Tunde, hope you're okay. Been thinking about you all day. Tears filled her eyes. She typed back, Chiamaka, we need to talk. She knew a storm was coming. Sunday afternoon was quiet in the Okafor household. The smell of jollof rice and fried chicken filled the air. But Chiamaka's appetite was gone. She knew her father would call her soon. It didn't take long. Chiamaka, Chief Okafor's deep voice came from his study. She walked in slowly. The room was neat and serious, bookshelves filled with law books, certificates on the wall, and his polished wooden desk in the center. He removed his glasses and gestured for her to sit. "I hear you are still talking to that boy," he began, his voice calm but firm. She swallowed hard. "Yes, Daddy. His name is Tunde. He's—" "I don't care about his name," her father cut in. "I care about the fact that you are wasting your time. Chiamaka, listen to me. Love is sweet when you are young, but marriage is a lifetime decision. You marry into a family, not just a person. Daddy, Tunde is ambitious. He's working hard to—" "Ambition does not erase poverty. Ambition will not change the fact that he is not from our tribe. Do you think my friends will respect me if my daughter marries someone like him?" Chiamaka's voice trembled. "What about my happiness?" Her father's eyes narrowed. "Your happiness will come from stability and respect. That boy cannot give you that. I forbid you from seeing him again." The word forbid hit her like a heavy stone. She took a deep breath. "I can't just stop talking to him, Daddy. He means a lot to me." His voice rose slightly. "Then you are making a foolish choice. You will regret it." She left the study with her heart pounding. Tears stung her eyes, but she refused to cry in front of him. That evening, she met Tunde on campus. They sat at a quiet bench under a neem tree. The soft hum of traffic drifted in from the road nearby. "He knows about us," she said. Tunde looked at her carefully. "And?" "He wants me to end it. He says you're not from our tribe, that you're not from a wealthy family, that it's not enough to just be in love." Tunde's jaw tightened. "So he thinks I'm not good enough for you?" Chiamaka reached for his hand. "Tunde, I told him you're ambitious, that you're working hard, but he doesn't see that yet." For a long moment, Tunde stared into the distance. "I'm not going to lie, Chiamaka. This hurts, but I'm not afraid of your father. I'll prove myself to him, even if it takes years." Her chest ached at his words. "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," he said softly. "We'll just keep things quiet for now. We'll meet where no one can interfere." She nodded, knowing it would not be easy. As the sun set behind the university buildings, they promised each other they wouldn't give up. Neither of them noticed the older student passing by, watching them with curious eyes. Eyes that would soon carry news back to someone who would make their secret even harder to keep. The weeks that followed felt like walking on a thin rope for Chiamaka. At home, she was the obedient daughter, keeping her father's peace. On campus, she was a young woman in love, finding stolen moments with Tunde wherever they could. They developed a secret routine. Every Wednesday afternoon after her law class, she would meet Tunde at a small cafe near the back gate of the university. The cafe was tucked behind a bookshop and rarely busy. Its walls painted warm yellow, the air filled with the smell of fresh meat pies and coffee. Tunde would already be there, waiting with his easy smile. "Your seat is ready, madam," he'd say, pulling out a chair for her. Sometimes they just talked for hours, about their studies, their dreams, and the life they wanted after school. Other times they walked in the nearby park, holding hands when no one was looking. One Saturday they decided to go to the beach. It was crowded, but the crashing waves gave them a kind of freedom. Sitting on the sand, Tunde turned to her. "One day, Chiamaka, I want us to have a place by the water, somewhere quiet, just you and me." She smiled sadly. "I'd like that, if my father allows it." He squeezed her hand. "Then I'll work until he has no reason to say no." But secrets are hard to keep. At a family gathering one Sunday, Chiamaka overheard her aunt whispering to her mother in the kitchen. "I saw her near the back gate last week, with that Yoruba boy, the one her father said she should leave." Her mother's face tightened. "Please don't tell Chief. You know how he is." The aunt shrugged. "It's your house. But if word spreads, people will talk." Chiamaka's stomach knotted. She slipped away quietly, her mind racing. If her father heard this from someone else, the consequences would be worse. Later that night, she messaged Tunde. "Chiamaka, we need to be more careful. People are noticing." Tunde: "I know, but I'm not going anywhere. Even if the whole school talks, I'm staying." Despite the growing pressure, they kept meeting in quiet places, a bookstore corner, the far end of the park, or the empty benches by the sports field. But the more they hid, the more exhausting it became. One afternoon, as they sat in the cafe, a young man from her department walked in and froze when he saw them. His eyebrows lifted in surprise before he smiled knowingly and walked out. Chiamaka's heart sank. "That's going to get around," she said. Tunde looked serious. "Then maybe it's time I face your father. Not now, but soon. I can't keep hiding forever." She nodded, but inside she feared what would happen when that day came. They didn't know it yet, but the rumors had already reached someone who would make sure Chief Okafor found out. And when he did, the quiet days of secret meetings would end with a storm they couldn't avoid. It was a Wednesday evening when the storm came. Chiamaka had just returned from campus, still smiling from the hour she had spent with Tunde at the cafe when her father's voice called from the living room. "Chiamaka, come here." She froze. Something in his tone told her he already knew. When she entered the living room, Chief Okafor was standing by the window, his back to her. Her mother sat quietly on the sofa, her eyes full of worry. "I received an interesting phone call today," her father began, his voice low and cold. "Someone saw you with that boy. Again." "Daddy, Don't lie to me," he barked, turning sharply. "I told you to end it, and yet you continue to disgrace this family." Her voice shook. "I'm not disgracing anyone. I care about Tunde, and he cares about me." Chief Okafor stepped closer. "You are young and foolish. You think love will feed you? You think it will give you respect in this society? That boy has nothing, and you will not throw away your future for him?" "I'm not throwing away anything. He's working hard." "Enough!" His voice thundered through the room. "From today, you will not leave this house unless it is for school. You will go straight there and come straight back. No cafes, no parks, no beaches, and you will not speak to him again." Chiamaka's lips trembled. "You can't control my heart." "You live under my roof," he said, his tone final, "and while you do, you will follow my rules." That night she sat on her bed in the dark, her phone hidden under her pillow. She typed quickly. "Chiamaka, Daddy found out. He's banned me from seeing you." The reply came almost instantly. "Tunde, we'll find a way. I'm not letting this be the end." Chiamaka, "He even said you called him before." Tunde, "What? I never called him. He must have found my number somewhere." They spoke for a while, their voices low and sad. Before hanging up, Tunde said, "If I have to stand in front of him and tell him who I am, I'll do it. I'm not afraid." The next few weeks were suffocating. Chiamaka felt like a prisoner in her own home. Her father had even told the family driver to report her movements. At school, she barely had time to see Tunde, except for a quick hello between classes. One afternoon, she spotted him across the courtyard. He slipped her a folded note as they passed. Later, she opened it in the library. It read, "I'm working on something. Just hold on." She didn't know what he meant, but it gave her a tiny spark of hope. But that spark almost went out when her father made his next move. One evening, he called her into the living room again. "I have found a young man from our community," he said. "His family is respectable. You will meet him next week." Chiamaka's heart pounded. This wasn't just about stopping her from seeing Tunde anymore. Her father was trying to replace him. Tunde had been silent for days, but not because he was giving up. He was planning. Since the night Chiamaka told him about her father's ban, he had been working extra hours at his internship with a top tech company in Victoria Island. His boss had noticed his dedication and offered him a chance to pitch one of his software ideas to the management team. If it worked, he would receive funding to start his own tech business. The day of the pitch arrived. Tunde stood in front of a panel of executives, speaking confidently about his app, a platform to connect small businesses to affordable digital tools. His passion was clear, and when he finished, the room erupted in nods of approval. 2 weeks later, he received the call. The company would fund his project and give him a small office space to start. For the first time in months, he felt like he was finally holding a card that could change Chief Okafor's mind. That Saturday, Tunde dressed neatly in a crisp white shirt and dark trousers. He stood outside the tall gates of Chiamaka's family home, his palms sweaty but his resolve firm. The gateman eyed him curiously before letting him in. In the living room, Chief Okafor sat with a cup of tea, reading. His eyes narrowed when he saw Tunde. "What are you doing here?" "Good afternoon, sir," Tunde said, his voice steady. I know I wasn't invited, but I came to speak to you man to man. Her father set down his cup slowly. You have some nerve. I understand you have concerns about me, Tunde continued. I know I'm not from your tribe. I know my family background is modest. But I want you to know that I'm building something. I just secured funding for my tech startup. I plan to create jobs for young Nigerians. I'm not asking for your blessing today. I'm asking for a chance to prove I'm worthy of it. Chief Okafor studied him for a long moment. His face remained unreadable. Young man, success is not built in a day. You may have a good idea, but ideas fail. And if you fail, what happens to my daughter? I won't fail, Tunde said firmly. Not because it's easy, but because I don't have the option to. Sir, I love Chiamaka, and I'm willing to wait as long as it takes for your approval. The silence stretched until Chief Okafor finally spoke. You have courage, I'll give you that. But love alone won't win this battle. Leave my house. Tunde stood, bowed slightly, and left without another word. Upstairs, Chiamaka had heard every word from the staircase. Her heart swelled with pride but also fear. She knew her father wouldn't change his mind overnight. Still, seeing Tunde stand in that living room, unshaken, gave her a new kind of hope. That night, she sent him a message. Chiamaka, I'm proud of you. One day he'll see what I see. Neither of them knew that one day was closer than they thought. A full year passed after Tunde's bold visit to Chief Okafor's home. For Chiamaka, it was a year of balancing love and patience. She and Tunde still met, but less often, both focused on building their futures. Tunde's startup, Link Up Tech, began to grow steadily. At first, it was just him and two friends working in a small office space in Surulere. But by the end of the year, they had 5 employees and several small businesses using their platform. His name started appearing in tech blogs and youth entrepreneurship forums. One Friday afternoon, he was invited to speak at a youth innovation conference in Victoria Island. He almost declined. Public speaking wasn't his favorite, but something told him this event might matter. On the day of the conference, the hall was filled with students, business leaders, and government officials. Unknown to Tunde, one of the invited guests was Chief Okafor. He had come as a board member of a legal foundation supporting youth programs, and he had no idea who the speakers were. When Tunde's name was called, Chief Okafor's head lifted sharply. He watched as the young man in a smart blue suit walked confidently to the stage. Tunde spoke passionately about technology as a tool for economic growth. He shared his journey, from losing his father at 12, to his mother's sacrifices, to the struggles of building something from scratch. He spoke about resilience, honesty, and the importance of creating opportunities for others. At one point, his eyes caught Chief Okafor's in the crowd. He didn't falter. By the time he ended his talk, the room was filled with applause. Several people approached him afterward, including a representative from an international NGO who expressed interest in funding his next project. That evening, as the crowd thinned, Chief Okafor walked up to him. Tunde straightened, unsure of what would happen. You spoke well, Chief Okafor said quietly. I didn't expect to see you here. Neither did I, sir, Tunde replied respectfully. There was a pause before the older man continued. I still believe marriage requires more than love, but I also believe character matters, and today I saw yours. Tunde's heart pounded. Thank you, sir. I am not promising anything today, Chief Okafor added, but maybe I was too quick to judge. 2 weeks later, Chiamaka sat in the living room with her parents. Her father cleared his throat. I have been thinking about your friend, he began. If he is truly serious about you, I will allow him to visit this house again, properly this time. Chiamaka's breath caught. Thank you, Daddy. Her mother smiled softly, her eyes full of relief. The following Sunday, Tunde returned, not as an unwelcome intruder, but as a guest. Chief Okafor still had questions, still had his reservations, but his tone was no longer hostile. As Tunde and Chiamaka walked out together afterward, their hands brushed. For the first time in a long while, the future didn't feel like an impossible dream. They knew there would be more hurdles ahead, but this time they would face them with hope, patience, and a father who was slowly, finally opening his heart.